that was really good, Peter and Denise and Dick. I guess it's something called a yin and a yang. I guess I'm the yang. I don't plan. I don't write things out. I just go by gut feel, and I think it's be a good contrast between me and you guys, because I need to do what you guys do. I just do it beforehand and that kind of thing. What my focus is on getting people to care about who you are and what you do. And I thought the first way to do this was to get, as Denise says, your market to care. But I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. My dad migrated to this country at the age of I guess it was 28, 29 years old, and immediately opened up his own small corner shop, and I had to work there every day after school, starting in the third grade. So we've always been the entrepreneurial mindset, um, and the small business owners are the backbone, as everyone hears, of our economy. And yet, there is a group of people who are degrading, insulting, disrespecting, not valuing, and I come up with a bunch of other terms, the small business owner or the entrepreneur that we will be speaking to. And I'm going to lead a movement to stop that because it is unfair, it is unjust, and it is killing small business owners. Um, Entrepreneurs that will be listening, I have listened, are listening to this podcast, um, have something valuable to offer, valuable to say, um, and darn it, they're just not being listened to because they're being disrespected. So I'm going to lead a movement to stop that. And you know what the interesting part, as I was doing this, the interesting thing was, you know who's doing this the most?
No, who?
Thank you. Thanks for being my straight man.
You
Uh,
bet.
the entrepreneurs themselves. The entrepreneurs themselves are not valuing what they do, and that's what my focus is going to be. Every entrepreneur, in my opinion, is exactly who they need to be successful. And every entrepreneur already has everything they need within themselves for their business to flourish. We just have to, what we're going to be doing here in this podcast, to point them in the right direction, show them alternatives, and let them flourish, let their greatness, let their uniqueness, let their magic come out so that people can see them, appreciate them, and says, hey, like Denise says, hey, would you mind giving me a call? Or Dick and I spoke last week. Imagine having a gatekeeper call you and say, hey, Dick, my boss would like to speak to you about what you do, as opposed to you calling them and saying, would your boss speak to me? So that's the focus of what I'll be doing here in these podcasts, is building that up. The second thing that I'll be addressing, um, is how the rules of the game have changed. And I'll use the analogy of baseball. I played baseball as a kid, and the pitcher was the buyer, and the batter was the vendor, the seller, the entrepreneur. And you know what? There was a set lineup, and every vendor had his chance at the bat because he was next in the lineup. He came up and he had four balls or three strikes, whatever it was, and he was guaranteed his at bat every ninth or 10th time, depending on where you were. Um, and that was pretty cool. And then all of a sudden, in fact, it happened in 1993, which we'll go into another podcast about that. In 1993, the game changed. The buyer no longer gives you three strikes. If he throws you a pitch and you swing and miss, you're out of the game, and you'll never come up to bat against that buyer again. That's how quick the decisions made and the game has changed. You no longer get four balls, you know. And if I throw a pitch that's over your head and you don't hit it, you're still out of the game. But it gets even worse than that. If a pitcher looks on deck and sees Frank Seringa, and he says, you know what, I don't like the way his uniform looks. He's out of the game. I never get a chance to get a hit. That's how much the game has changed. We're going to be addressing that in our podcast, and I'm excited about sharing what we all have learned. But we've got to play by the new rules, or else we are out of the game. And when we're out of the game, we're out of business. So that's where I'll be heading, Peter, Denise, and Dick, with building up and showcasing the entrepreneur and all the strengths and magic that they have, and also showing them how to win in the new rules of this new game called small business enterprise. And that's what I'm all about.